Hello everybody and welcome to this video. In today's video we're going to be having a look at a new piece of music I have written called A Little Story. And in this piece we're going to be learning about jumping our left hand from a chord to a note and back and forth, which happens in a lot of pieces. We're also going to be doing this the other way round, from a low note back to a chord. And I'll tell you all of the best techniques in order to improve this movement, which many players often find very difficult. Now, if you would like to play along with today's piece of music, you'll find it linked for free down in the description. Whilst you're on your way down there, feel free to subscribe to the channel for more music like this and press the like button. So, on with today's piece. The music has a characteristic giocoso feel to it, and this word in Italian refers to a playful or happy sound, and we can hear this in the melody. And like many pieces in this genre, it's got a heavy influence from many folk songs and songs of the past. You might recognize the tune, but I can assure you I did create it. It just sounds very familiar. I kind of found that too. The key signature for this piece then, let's get that one done too. We have two flats. This puts us in the B flat major or G minor area. We will find both of those keys being used in today's piece. Here's a snippet of the beginning with the B flat. And then in the middle, a more sinister minor section. So, before we go any further, I will play through the whole piece for you so you can understand what we'll be working on today. Pay special attention to the way the left hand moves. I will keep the movements very calm and fluid, and I'll be using my pedal to bridge the gaps, which we'll talk a little more about later on. So here is the piece, A Little Story. So, as you can hear from this piece of music, it's a very exciting passage to play through. There are lots of places where the fingers have to do very intricate work, and it might take a little bit of time to get used to all of the movements. Now, in the piece, I have written some suggested fingers, and these are a little bit of a contentious issue sometimes. Should we always follow the finger numbers that are provided? Or is there some sort of rule in place where we can swap them in and out in a certain way? Unfortunately, there isn't a consistent approach to this, and they're written in by different people for different reasons. A lot of finger numbers will be good suggestions, and that is maybe the best way, in fact, of sort of looking at the finger numbers. If you see some in a book, they're often there to help you out. And you can try them. Maybe you prefer to do something different, but I would always check with your teacher if you're unsure. I have written them in for that reason, to help you out. If you try my fingers and you think, they're not really for me, I think I've got a better plan, maybe you will have, and that will work for you. But these fingers will work for most people, and I believe are at least amongst the easier ways of doing things. So let's have a look through the first part of the music. We have the melody as I played you earlier. And you can hear that first phrase successfully reaching this point. It's quite a driven melody, so we don't want to ebb and flow too much, at least not all of the time. Let's get on with the left hand then, which is going to be our main event today. The left hand is moving from a chord to a low note over here. This is the B flat chord, inverted with the F in the bass, F, B flat and D, dropping down to its B flat note at the bottom. As we do this movement then, a lot of people will find themselves looking, and this is exactly what you should be doing, at least for now. I would recommend judging your skill level first, seeing how it goes. If you find yourself okay with this, then of course you're done. Carry on with your process and learn the piece. But for a lot of people, this is going to be an incredibly tricky moment, especially when coordinating with the right hand, when it will all suddenly become more difficult. And the reason it becomes more difficult is because you're dividing your attention now. You can't look at everything at once. So in theory, we can approach this in a couple of different ways. You could focus on learning the right hand so well that you can then look at your left hand. But then if you're not sure of the notes, you've got to look at the music too. And it can all get in a bit of a jumble. It's very hard to memorize everything and then just leave the left hand to be focused on. It's better to be able to play the left hand almost autonomously as well. And I would suggest bringing this skill up in a specific way. I would put your fingers over the first chord. Call this position 1. Looking with our eyes then at the last position for this particular sequence, which is the single B flat, we're then going to jump using our little finger to hit the note. You'll notice I'm not pressing the keys, and this is a very important part. It helps to focus your attention on the positions, the feeling, and the movements. The sound will come later, but don't worry, it just makes us sometimes panic a little bit about getting the wrong notes. But if we're doing it calmly, one step at a time, position 1, use your eyes, look at position 2, move across. We're now learning. Because we're looking at our hand at this point as well, we know that we're going to be able to do this, and it helps reassure our minds that we're in the right places. So when we're not able to look later, we're much more likely to be able to use our peripheral vision just to accurately position. There's also a very good idea here to not bounce back and forth like this. A lot of people find themselves going, oh yeah, I'm learning. But actually, if you just do position 1, looking at position 2, move to position 2, take the hand off, reset, try one more time. This is calmer, and it helps us to really do the process in the correct way. The piece doesn't go back and forth, so there's no point practicing this. It may seem like more repetitions is better, but quality repetitions are better. We're then looking at chord 2, which is the E flat chord inverted with the G at the base, which then drops down equally to a B flat. It's a little bit further, but not much, and you'll notice the wrist has to twist slightly to accommodate this chord position. You'll need to move your fingers nearer the back of the keys and use the top part of the black notes to reach the position where your little finger can comfortably pop itself in the gap. You may find it embedded between the two black notes here, but we don't want to go too far around, as that could really make our positions a bit compromised as we keep twisting our wrist. So we'll have our hand here, making sure that's comfortable first. Of course, test it out if you need to. Once you're happy, stop playing, looking at the position, moving down to position 2, 1, look, 2, reset, 1, looking, 2. Then I can try them all in a row so far. Position 1, B flat chord, looking at the B flat, moving. Next chord, moving when I've looked, and so on. Then, obviously once you're ready with this, you can try it out with some actual playing. I wouldn't worry about the pedal, there'll be some gaps, don't worry. Let's see how it goes. 1, look, 2, 1, look, 2. Now I'm going to try and do this in a little bit of a different way. I'm just going to look straight ahead, you'll have to trust that I am, and I'm going to use my peripheral vision to get that finger in place. There is a chance I'll miss it, and it will be on camera, so let's see how it goes. Thank goodness. Didn't want to have to reshoot that. Okay, so now we can see that working. We're a bit more confident. But what happens when we introduce the other hand? Well, let's pretend we've practiced this melody and I'm really good at it. Okay, happy with that. As soon as I bring this in, you can almost guarantee things get 10 times harder. It's probably going to start feeling difficult. And I'll have this big panic at this moment where, oh, I don't know where the note is anymore. I've lost my confidence. This happens a lot. So again, we're going to take out the urgency. Why have I gone all the way to the point where I suddenly need to get there quick? Well, I don't need to. So I'm going to play slowly and out of time, playing the notes. Now I'm going to look down, check my position and move, and just practice that bit. Have a little look. Yep, everything's good. Happy with that. Let's try doing it looking ahead. No quicker. Do I still get there? Yes, all is good. Then I can start in this position and move up to the next chord. Looking at my chord now, I'm using my eyes to scan this area. And I might just start there again. It's such a unique position that my hand just immediately snaps onto there. Hopefully yours will too. And you build this up, starting in places. And gradually filling in all of the gaps. So let's move on to the second line then and look at the right hand here. We've just picked up from the end of the line with the tune again, using the upbeat. Now I have suggested here for my fingers something a little bit rarer than we normally see. A 5, a 4 and a 3. So we're approaching on 5 and swapping fingers on the D. This is one way of then getting in position to be able to hit the C with our thumb, and then second on the B flat, and then we've got room to stretch over to E flat. And that, for me, is a reasonably good solution. Of course, you could leave your fifth finger and just put your thumb on the C, but it's a little bit tight to do that. You could alternatively ignore putting your thumb on the C and then stretch your fourth across. That is a little bit more stretchy than I would like to do, especially when playing quickly. So have a look at those fingers there and see if you enjoy that, or if you'd like to try some other things out first. But I think that's a reasonable solution. Otherwise, that completes the first section of the piece. Let us travel on then to the minor section. So this section is written in the key of G minor. We'll find our G minor chords first, and then the lovely D major chord. The D major chord appears in the key of G minor because of the raised seventh. Here it is at the top. So this is the harmonic form of the minor with the original key signature in place and the F sharp raised seventh at the top. This means then that the chords that we'll often find are G minor and the dominant chord of D major with that F sharp in. And it sounds good just playing them. The tune then has this quaver pattern, and a little bit different to the first part. You'll need to flow in and out of things. So it requires a bit of careful planning with the fingers, as we've mentioned, and you'll be able to hopefully find your way through this fairly reasonably. Now, there's also something else technically interesting on this line, which for a lot of people is fairly common knowledge, but for those that haven't seen it or would like more information, you will see the first and second time bars highlighted here. This means that there are 2 times that you play this line, shown by the repeat over here. The repeat tells us to go back to the forward-facing repeat sign at the beginning of the line and start the line again, this time for the second time. So once we reach this point, we skip across and move to the second time bar and finish the line off with a different ending. This saves me writing the whole line out again and keeps the music nicely on one page. Once we've done that then, we'll find ourselves moving on to the last two lines, which, much like the first two, have the same tune, with a slight difference at the end. The ending wants us just to do a little bit of something different with the fingers, coming up and finding our way to the end. You can spread this chord as well, which is quite nice to do. That's playing the bottom note and then adding the top ones afterwards. Or as I like to say, playing the chord all at once, but not very well. And that completes the piece. I want to finish today then with just a little mention of pedalling. Of course, playing this with no pedal will give you a very disjointed feel to the piece. And even with your best efforts, it's never going to sound as smooth as it will with the pedal. The first thing about pedaling, really, to mention is that you should try and get it as smooth as possible without the pedal. What we don't want to be doing with the pedal is playing a chord, taking our hand immediately off and just relying on it. What this will do is create bad habits where your pedal covers across things that you don't want it to, and you lose all the subtlety that you might need in certain other places. The pedal is there to bridge the final part of the gap. It also enhances the sound by letting everything resonate, opening up the cabinet of your piano and making things all sound a bit more resonant. As we move through this line then, at the beginning, I'll just show you a little bit of what I would do using my hand as a pretend pedal. This is pedal up, this is pedal down. As I go to play the first chord, I'll have my pedal down already. This means I will capture the first chord, and then as I move, I'll keep my pedal down, and then I'll lift up and repress. This means that any melody notes in the interim will be lost, and I'll recapture the new ones. We don't want to pedal the whole bar often because there might be some other notes in there which will just make a little less clarity on the sound. So again, pedal down. Once I hit the new note, pedal up and down. Move to the next chord, press it, pedal up and down, pedal up and down, up and down. So in other words, the pedal comes momentarily after you've pressed the new things, the chord or the note. And doing it this way means that the pedal is down most of the time. I have seen a lot of times where people will keep the pedal moving up and down a lot more, or they think that pressing the pedal and releasing it is in fact the action. But think of it more like a heartbeat. Pedal down, ba-dump, 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 etc. You get the idea. This means that then it's smooth and clear, and takes a lot of coordination as it's slightly out of time with the music. But with practice, maybe in a piece like this, you'll find yourself getting much better at pedaling. Well, I do hope you've enjoyed having a listen to my little story and learning some more things about music. If you have enjoyed today's video, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and press the like button. Thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy your journey.